Well, thanks everybody for coming. I think it's a good turnout considering it's middle of the work week. We got the dedicated fans here, so thanks everybody for coming. Everybody enjoyed the game last night. It was a pretty exciting one. I know everybody was probably pretty impressed that Olivier Hood had 3 goals in a period, but Joey Haddad did it twice. So no pressure to Olivier. He's got to find another way to do that before his career's over. So again, thanks everybody for coming out. We got an esteemed panel today. I'll start from my left and then work forward. Erwin Simon, our principal owner, is here this morning.
Thank you.
And very pleased to welcome for the first time to Cape Breton in his new role, the commissioner of the QMJHL, Mario Cecchini. And one of our shareholders, Rob Sabat, is here. Hopefully I have your name correct, Rob. He's here on the far end. So without any further ado, we'll start the proceedings, and after everybody gets a chance to speak, we'll do this town hall style. So if you have any questions, we can do that after everybody's done speaking. So we'll give the floor to Erwin. He can either come up here or sit down, whichever he prefers.
No, I'll come here. It's okay. Everybody can hear me, see me. That round of applause. Maybe I should run for mayor or premier in Nova Scotia. What do you think? We need a change, right? Glad everybody survived that horrendous snowstorm. And Michelle told me before I was coming here, bring extra boots and extra clothes because we were getting more snow and rain, but we got the rain, not the snow. So, good morning and welcome. Listen, I want to welcome to my left here the commissioner who is in this role for 10 months now. I was going to say 10 years. I hope you see 10 years in this role. And a partner of mine, Rob Sabat from Brooklyn, New York. And, you know, I'm moving Brooklyn people here. So you remember the Dodgers moved from Brooklyn, you know? We're not moving to Brooklyn, Cape Breton, trust me, okay? That's not happening, I promise you. I want to move some people from Brooklyn up here. So good to sit up here and see everybody. It's good to talk about the Eagles. And let me talk about the good points, you know, some of the challenges, and what I see. And how many minutes do I have, Pat, before?
That depends on Mario's flight schedule, I think.
Okay, what time we gotta leave, Mario? Because I got a lot, I got a lot to say. Listen. Number one, I'm feeling good where the team is going. What do we have? 31 wins. We had 30 all last year. And number one, number two is what is it? In regards to 1-point games that could have went either way, I think there was what, 4 or 3? 4. So, you know, 32, 36 games. You know, I was looking for 40 wins for the year, but I'm somebody that's always looking for more than sometimes it's there. So, you know, last night with Louis and Sylvain and Jaward, we talked about it. You know, I'd like to see us at 38 wins, which means, you know, we got 8 games left. We got to win 6 of those. So let's go there. The next thing is this year. You know, it's interesting. This morning I was up early, and when I'm back in New York, I'm using the Wall Street Journal here. I'm watching the sports, all the trades that are going on in the NHL right now for the teams to get to the next level, and interesting there. And it's who do we play? Do we play Moncton? Do we play Wisconsin? Shawinigan? Who do we play? And on the road, etc. So figuring that out, and there's plenty of scenarios. So there's a lot of analysis going on. So number one, I want to see us finish at least 38 wins. I want to see us get to the second round. And I got to tell you, sitting with Sylvain and his team, who have done an excellent job, we really got some great draft choices coming up behind this team here. But let's not worry about that, you know, for the draft in June. It's what's happening this year. So, and you know, you sit and watch. We're playing some good hockey. It is good, interesting, good fundamentals. You know, we're tough, we're rough. The boys know how to mix it up. There's no one taking their gloves off and going to center ice and bare fists, which is great to see. The team, I think, from a really in good shape. And let me just come back and recite a few facts. We travel 26,000 miles a year, this team. I know Mario's listening to me, okay? We're on the road 48 nights of the year, excluding playoffs, okay? And, you know, we travel the farthest of any team. There is the month of February, we had 2 practices. 3 in October. In February, I think we only had a couple practices. During the snowstorm, we were not able to get out and, and practice, and we had to give up games. So again, don't forget, our boys are traveling all those miles. Our boys are on the road. They're going to school. They're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. A lot of you guys have children out there, 20-year-olds, still pretty young, and playing hockey and trying to win. So there's a lot, that we're doing. So there's a lot that we have to overcome. So, I'm proud of the team. And I got to tell you, it's a good group of kids. It's a good group of boys. And they're a team. And there's no I in team. And this is a real team. And, since I've owned this and being part of it, I've really felt this is a team that has come together. And what we've built over the last 4 years is a good infrastructure. We had something called COVID that interrupted us, and we were on the way to some great things. And I think that year we could have went to the Memorial Cup before COVID stopped everything. Everything stopped for 2 years, and we've had to rebuild almost from scratch. So with Joey and Melissa, who are back, that I got to make note of in the office here, that are really building our team sponsorships, really working on, and I'm going to talk about getting people in the seats and really working on that from a standpoint. I really want to take my hats off to the team and what we're doing. The social media guys who are back here. Listen, I was in the dressing room last night and walked in with Mario. Before I knew it was posted, guys. Thank you for that and getting that out there. We really got a great, young, exciting, analytical marketing team in place here. And I know there's changes where you can buy your tickets online. I can't get paper tickets. We're here to adapt to everybody, okay? So I want to really thank them. Hockey operations under Sylvan, he won a Memorial Cup in Bathurst. And Bathurst is a hell of a lot smaller, city? Because Bathurst is a city, right? Town, village, city, whatever you want. What? Small town. And he won a Memorial Cup there, and he's promised me he's going to repeat that one day again before his career ends. He said, I did 2 things in life. I won 1 Memorial Cup, and I got my son a captain of an NHL team. Now I want 1 more Memorial Cup, okay? So with that, we got a lot to do there, but I really see some good, insight and foresight for the team. Most important are you guys, the fans. When you're on the ice, there are 6 players on the ice. The 7th is the fans. And, we're playing in a building that was built in the 2000s. Almost every NHL team that you walk into today has a new building where they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. We're just looking for, a few things to happen here. This building needs, some spick and span. It needs some tender loving care. It needs, sound systems. And, we're not Ice Cube that's playing here and that brings in the big music systems and stuff like that. So we have a meeting tomorrow with city officials. Mario's met the city officials. We need some upgrades here, whether it's dressing rooms when other teams come in here. Whether it is the clock which is coming, the scoreboard, sound system. I'm committed to this team. I'm committed to, as I told one of the counselors yesterday, that great money that you guys spent on Charlotte Street a couple of times repaving it, to have a parade, a ticker tape parade going down Charlotte Street, and with a cup, or the Gilcourt Coat Cup or the Memorial Cup or whatever, I'm committed to see that. But I need everybody's help. I need you to call your counselor. I need you to call the mayor. I need you to call your MP and say, hey, the Eagles are to Cape Breton what the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Raptors, the soccer team are to Toronto, okay? We have the Eagles here. We don't have baseball. We don't have anything else. And this is the focal point for our young kids who are into hockey, for entertainment. And it's just not a Sydney team, it's a Glace Bay team, it's a Sydney team, Sydney River, New Waterford, North Sydney, and that's what we need to focus on, how we bring more and more people out here to see some great entertainment. We're going to continue to invest in the team. You see us, what we've done on whole rebranding, what we invested in people, what we're investing in players. It is expensive for us from a road trip. We're in the midst of new buses that almost cost us $1 million to ensure that when they're on the bus, they can rest, they can do homework, that when they get to games. We want to make sure when we're traveling in between that these boys are stopping and staying in hotels. We're not on a bus for 24 hours and really making sure of that. So from my standpoint, I'm here to invest in the team. If I could invest more and own this rink like other, teams do, I would, because I see a great future here. I grew up here, I was born here and proud of it. Went to school in Glace Bay, went to school in Halifax. So this to me has a lot of meaning here, and came back here to give back to the community, and will continue to give back to the community. All I ask is the same thing, to come back and have our fans come to the game, have our politicians give back, and I'm here with it, and we'll be proud to be, here when we win a cup. I get asked so many times, you have so many opportunities to invest in sports, why Cape Breton? Because I'm from here, I'm committed to here. I'm from Glace Bay, and which is in Cape Breton, which everybody reminds me, I'm a Bay boy. But again, it's some exciting stuff. I know I've been up here before and talked about it at some of our other press conferences. Things happen, you brush yourself off, and now we move forward to see those other things happening. So those that come out today, thank you very much. To all the staff of the Eagles, guys, thank you very much for what you guys do, and providing us, and there's a lot goes into putting the game day on, and there's a lot goes in. These guys have been here since August 12th with training camp and recruiting and that, and even if the season's over, the next day you're back to work. So with that, I'll turn it over to the commissioner and let him say a few words, since I've been speaking so much, that's all he's got time for now. So, Mario.
Thank you, Erwin. Listen, I will be brief because we want to go to questions, I guess. But you just heard what's important in my role when you look at a franchise is the commitment. And sometimes the smaller the market, the bigger the commitment needs to be. Challenges coming out of COVID are numerous, and you have here an ownership group, I should say, led by Erwin, that is really committed to take Cape Breton Eagles to the top. And for me, coming in, Erwin was one of the first one that texted me welcome, and we always have good exchanges, frank exchanges, open exchanges, and it makes sure that all the ideas come across the table. And what we do at the league right now that we've somewhat, I'm told, changed a little bit from the past is that we leave the competition on the ice and we collaborate off the ice as a group. We've become a league that's operating together, looking ahead at the challenges, not afraid to have the conversations, which, sometimes you don't always agree, but we find ways to get it done. And you probably saw in the last 3 meetings, we had 3 board meetings so far, and we did 3 major decisions. Fight on bans, bans on fight. That's the time delay, the time change, whatever. It's so the fighting rule, obviously the name change, and then a reduction of calendar as of next year to 64 games to alleviate the burden on the players that Erwin just talked about. So very proud to be here, very happy to be here. Great meetings yesterday. Always good to see the team in action, people who actually make it happen and get it done. And so much learning, and already looking forward to be back. So,
You know,
on to the questions.
Just before, I want to commend Mario, number one, changing the name of the league. Quebec Junior, Maritime Hockey League is big, because, there's a lot of time Quebec doesn't recognize the Maritimes doesn't recognize Quebec, but, and I think that's really important, the name change. And what Mario said, we're competitors on the ice, when we get in the room together, what we want to do is build a strong league. And, the CHL has got some bad blemishes over the last couple of years. And, some lawsuits coming at us and whatever, which we've had to deal with. Now, the Q, even though we're part of the CHL, has taken a lot of hits because of it, and it's not something that happened within the Q. And one of the things that I say to Mario is, come back and look who came from the Q. Look how many Memorial Cups have been won by Quebec Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. How many Memorial Cups have been won? But look, the Crosbys of the world, the Nathan McKinnons of the world. Look how many great players have come from, our league. You got Thomas Lavoie, who's probably going to get drafted in the top. There's a lot of, draft choices that come out of here. Lafreniere, who was playing with the Rangers, who came from what, Rimouski? Yeah. So there is a big feeding point here. And don't forget, we got a lot of competition today, because you got the NCAA, who's throwing a lot of money at these guys, okay? And are bringing them into these stadiums. Where were we talking about? Was it Penn State? So then we're talking, brand new stadium where they spent a fortune. And there's a lot of money being handed around in college sports today in a big time. So we're competing with all that to get these young guys. And not only that, what Cape Breton is competing with is the other 17 teams out there. Just because you get drafted by Cape Breton doesn't mean you got to come here, okay? And with 177 centimeters of snow, I might run away too. But that only happens once every 100 years. But my point is, they got to want to come to Cape Breton, because they got to want to come for the hockey. They want to come and know we got a great coach, great hockey program, incredible billets. Any billets here? Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your the billet program. We really take care of these, and they take these boys in. It's like their own children and deal with them out there. Education, and that's important. So it's important for us. They want to come to Cape Breton, because it'd be much more exciting to stay in Quebec, Montreal. Halifax is a big city. Moncton's a bigger city. So there's a lot of other places they can go to and get those recognition. The other thing is, you don't recognize, in a lot of games here, how many scouts are in the crowd, Sylvain? I was here one time, I think there was another thing, there was like 50 scouts here, that were coming to Cape Breton. So, scouts are coming and looking, and you think about it. So the Quebec League, the Quebec, hockey, the Q is something that's a pretty exciting league, lots of changes there. And, under Mario's leadership, and he was the one that, ran the Alouettes, and when they got sold and he leaves, they won, the Grey Cup.
Grey Cup winning out, yeah.
But I just see, not only am I talking about lots of changes happening within the Eagles, I see a lot of changes, and, Gil Courteau was a great commissioner, 45 years, but a lot changed. And so there's a lot of change under Mario's leadership that's going to happen within, our league. So, questions?
Yeah, so Nick, are you going to bring the microphone around, Nick? Just raise your hand if you have a question. Nick will find you.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah. They're at your service.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Mario, you spoke about earlier of, in these smaller markets such as Cape Breton, how important this team is for, the people of the community. But on the other side, these fans are what keep this team here. Can you talk about that, the impact of a good fan base for a club like Cape Breton?
Well, essential. We always say, and Erwin used it, the seventh player on the ice, first of all, just from a pure experience for the players, it's just, great motivation when they feel the whole city and the fans behind them. But what's exciting to me is that after a lot of changes that we did in the summer, we now see our fan base growing in the league by 5% numbers as of this Tuesday, after about 90% of the season done, which is about 550 so games, like we are there out of 612. More important than the bigger number, the overall number, is the fact that 14 teams out of 18 are seeing growing audiences. And 2 of those teams that are not had record season last year. So it's more just coming back to normal. So coming out of COVID, everybody knows, selling a ticket is not an easy thing. It's a challenge for anything, whether it's theater, music, concerts, sports events. It needs hard work. And to see a growth in this market of 20% over last year tells me that the community is behind it. Some would say coming back, but behind it after COVID and so on. So we're not back to numbers as a league pre-COVID numbers, but certainly on the way there. So extremely important, and very happy so far with the numbers this year.
You spoke about it earlier as well. Fighting obviously is the big news coming the last couple of seasons. Can you kind of explain what went into that decision? Because I understand that a lot of people obviously miss it in the game, but other people are, it's kind of a black and white kind of scenario. Can you talk about what went
Which decision? I didn't get the question.
fighting?
The fighting rule, yeah. Well, I don't.
You inherited.
Again, from, actually, to me, it was 15 years in the making, first of all, because most of you, our fans, saw the decline in number of fights on a regular basis since I guess, when they had most fights in around 2005. There was a famous hockey goalie fight in 2008 that was a little bit of a tipping point, and the rules started to change a little bit. So when I came on board, the rule was not in. The rule was discussed, and we just fast forwarded to get to the point that we are today. And I think it was very important, because those who were a little bit having a different opinion, different vision, were saying 2 things. You'll have less fans and cheap shots. More fans, we just said it, 20% in this market, so case in point. And then, obviously, we have less suspensions than last year, and even less suspension in terms of number of games. So one can conclude that cheap shots are not part of it. Before every game, when I'm in an arena, go talk to the referees, talk to the coaches, to the GMs. Basically no difference versus last year. It was a little bit funny, and the preseason and beginning of the years, guys would go like this, look at each other and say, what do we do now? Well, we used to drop it. Well, now we don't. And it's okay. So we have minimal fights this year compared to the other league. And one thing I want to point out, Erwin talks about the NHL. Let's all remember that we are in this league training kids to be NHLers. At the same time, some might say unfortunately, but that's the law of nature, we are also training accountants. We're also training truck drivers. We're also training welders, airline pilots, doctors. Fighting will not be part of their life when they grow up. And when you're between 16 and 20, I for one would not like to see my son uneven fighting a guy that's 30 pounds heavier, bare fist, as you mentioned, on skates. Somehow this doesn't sound right. And when you talk about the NHL, I have less and less patience with some scouts, because 55 or 58%, somebody do the math, that's a number I was given, of the NHLers come from the world of hockey and leagues that don't fight. So to me, should not be an issue. NCAA doesn't fight, Europe doesn't fight. So we have a culture, changing it a little bit. There's other ways to make your presence felt, there are other ways to be rough, and we encourage toughness on the ice, good body checking. There's plenty of legal rules in the book to make your presence felt. That's the way we like it. And the conversation went tough to, it's the right thing to do. And once in a while you get to do, sometimes you have to do the political thing, sometimes you have to do the polite thing, but once in a while it's nice to do the right thing to do. So that's how it went. And I'm not hearing about it today that much, actually. No fans come up to me last night, maybe 10, 15 fans came up. Nobody mentions it. They like the name change though, when I'm here, but they don't mention the fight rule.
This could be a question for all three of you. Since COVID, the Q has struggled with maybe some attendance issues. but the Eagles are up 23% in terms of attendance this year compared to last year. Could I just get all your reactions to that number?
You know,
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, it's funny, maybe it plays into a thought that was going through my mind. Last night, someone asked me, we were walking around the arena, how did somebody from Brooklyn, New York hear about Cape Breton Eagles and what made you want to get involved? And I said, it's not about finding a team or buying a team. This is something that I'm excited to be part of. It's a story that's still being written with Irwin. This is about someone who's always taken pride in being from here and wanting to come home and build a winner, build a better arena, build a community around this team and around the arena, and really revive a lot of things here. And it's exciting for me to be a part of that, this exciting story. And why maybe this plays into your answer is because I think people are sensing that. And I think people believe that. And I think people believe that this group led by Irwin are building something, although the championship is the important thing, building something a little more, a little bigger than that and outside. And that's why I think we're getting such a good response.
Mario?
Go ahead. Well, listen,
Laura.
nothing to really add because it's what I just said. I think the importance and the recognition of the team within the city, I think people are seeing the efforts, and I think it's natural evolution. You mentioned coming out of COVID. We inherited nasty habits during COVID of staying home and staying on our couch and enjoying a different way of life. And just coming out of it, I think, is a little change, mental change. And so no, I think we're in the right place going up. I mean, and all we need to do is to make sure we listen to the fans, always enhance that fan experience on top of hockey and making it a good show.
So, my original, it's 4 years or 5 years, Gerard, I'm not sure what it is we came in here and we were gonna make lots of changes, and we did. And we really got some great momentum, in changing from Screaming Eagles, as I said before, to Eagles, and, we had some great players. And again, we're still playing in that same building today with the same clock, and we're still playing with the same sound system. We got some new upgrades. COVID came, we were shut down, and then we were just playing maritime teams. And but the thing is, you got to step back. The world changed since COVID. The world has changed. And that's what everybody got to recognize, how much the world has changed. And that's why we had to come back and we got to restart. We got to rethink how we're bringing fans back to the game. We got to think how we market. Where you come here for a game, it's hockey, it's entertainment, it's in between period entertainment, it's good food, it's a night out. And the other thing is, how's it affordable? I will tell you, I didn't do this for an investment as a money-making investment. If I did, I went to the wrong schools in Glace Bay and then taught me to like bad math, because bad math doesn't add up here, trust me, okay? This is not about a financial investment, because if it is, it's not a great one, okay? Because be very clear, Eagles, it's not there. The big thing is this here. This is something that's so important to the community, and this is something. And what's important too, and I said this, our bus, as I talked about, travels all over Canada, and seeing the Cape Breton Eagles, throughout Quebec, seeing the Cape Breton Eagles, named throughout all eastern, the maritime provinces and stuff like that, seeing players being drafted from there. So with that, that's what it is for me. Now I feel we can come back and we're rebuilding. And just like a hockey team where you rebuild, we're rebuilding how to get the fans in here. We have a meeting with the mayor and a lot of others tomorrow in regards to this building and what needs to happen. I wish we had a $30 million check to put in here to do it, but we're gonna make the best of it. And we're gonna be back, energy here. And that's what's important to me.
Well, thanks for everybody for coming out again. It was nice to hear from everybody on the panels, and look forward to seeing everybody here on a Friday night. And just again, welcome back to the Nest, Rob and Irwin. And again, thanks for coming, Mary. It was great to have you here. And again, thanks everybody for coming out. Nice to see fans out on a weekday morning.
Thank you.